There's no way I'm celebrating our anniversary with an ugly wife like you. Do you really think you're worth that much? You're disgusting. I'm glad I have a business trip soon, because I don't want to see your face. Find me a good place to stay. Don't count on help from your family's struggling company. I thought I could fix my relationship with my husband, so I bravely asked him about celebrating our anniversary, but his response crushed my hopes. The smile he gave me, promising to take care of me, was a lie. His real goal was to marry the CEO's daughter. Even though my father is the CEO of a construction company, his office is just a small part of our house. When my husband found out, he looked down on me and started treating me badly. On our anniversary, he made it clear he was spending the night with another woman. He left me feeling hopeless, smiling as he left. I come from a family in the construction business. After college, I worked as an admin assistant to help support the family business. I didn't want to depend on them, so I moved out when my grandmother passed away and started living alone in her house. That's when I met John through a friend. We got along so well and shared the same values. We got married quickly, and we planned to start our new life in my house. We promised to celebrate our anniversary every year. But our happy life was overshadowed by the old, creaky house. I looked out the window and thought about a conversation I had with my father the day before. He suggested we build a new house, but I couldn't bring myself to let go of the memories of my grandmother's house. I couldn't decide between starting a new life with John or keeping the memories of my grandmother. One day, John yelled at me, telling me to tear down the old house. He said, "Your family's in construction. You should be able to fix this." He belittled my family's business, calling it inefficient. When we first met, John was sweet and cheerful. He even joked about being nervous about my family's status. But after learning more about my family's small business, he began to criticize me. He told everyone at work he was marrying the daughter of a company president, even though I never told him that my family owned a big business. Slowly, our conversation stopped, and we started sleeping in separate rooms. John began criticizing my looks and background, making me feel worthless. Eventually, I started hating him too. One day, after work, I went shopping and came home soaked from the rain. I was cold and shivering, so I quickly took a shower. But something felt wrong. The bathroom was damp. Even though I had cleaned it the night before, the room smelled different, too. I texted John, asking if he had come home early. He replied, "Of course not." But when I found his watch in the gap between the washing machine and the wall, I got suspicious. I knew I had seen him wear it that morning. I put on rubber gloves and went back to the bathroom. When I pulled the bathtub drain, I found long hair that wasn't mine or John's. There were also pieces of nail art stuck in the hair. I rarely got my nails done. I went to John's bedroom and found the same long hair, the same scent, and even makeup stains on the sheets. That night, feeling sick and upset, I decided to check John's phone while he was napping in the living room. I had been avoiding him all evening, staying in my room. After dinner, he didn't expect me to come out, and after a few drinks, he dropped his phone on the floor and fell asleep. He didn't even bother to lock it. I couldn't help but look through it, and soon I found messages from the woman he was seeing. From the conversation, it seemed she was his ex-girlfriend. She came from a wealthy family and had left him when she got engaged to another rich man. John still couldn't get over her, so he reached out to her when she was moving into a fancy apartment her fiancé's family had bought for her. It seemed like John took advantage of her situation to compete with her happy messages. He bragged that he was about to marry the daughter of a construction company, me. I guess he decided to marry me just to make it look like everything was fine. How pathetic. He used me just to show off, and I didn't even realize it. I felt really stupid. I angrily threw his phone on the floor and went back to my room, crying uncontrollably. My mind was a mess, and I didn't want to think about it. Even though our relationship had been falling apart for a while, I hadn't given up, and it hurt to know the truth. I cried until I couldn't cry anymore and eventually fell asleep from exhaustion. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of John leaving for work. I quickly wiped my swollen eyes and thought about what I should do. All I could think about was how kind John had seemed at the start. It was hard to believe it was all a lie. He could have divorced me when he realized I wasn't what he expected, but he didn't. I thought maybe there was still a chance for a fresh start. That day, I made his favorite stew and waited for him to come home. I always made it from scratch, and he would tell me it was the best. I remembered how he used to smile so happily when he ate it. When he came home, he didn't say much, but he ate the stew happily enough. "Hey, our anniversary is this weekend. Do you remember our promise? How about we go out together?" It hurt to live like this, without being able to talk to each other. We don't have to do anything special. I just want to be with you. I want to share things with you and have real conversations. I gathered the courage to say this, though I wasn't sure if it was nerves or fear that made me tear up. I wiped my eyes as I looked at his face, hoping he'd take me seriously, but his response shocked me. Ugh, you're gross. A reclusive pig suddenly wants to spend our anniversary together? What's so special about you that you deserve to be celebrated? An anniversary only matters if you actually care about each other. Otherwise, it's just another day. There's no anniversary with you at all. I don't even remember our stupid promises. Stop saying weird things. John sneered at me with disgust, like I was nothing to him. I feel sick, he added, before storming out to buy some beers. I retreated to my room, feeling crushed, and started crying again. That night, he was passed out drunk in the living room. I wondered if he enjoyed mocking me as he drank. I decided to check his phone again and found that he had made a reservation for a fancy dinner with his mistress on the day of our anniversary. Ironically, it was also the anniversary of their relationship. It hit me, everything about our marriage had been a mistake. There was never any love from him. I was just a status symbol to him, a way to maintain a comfortable life. I collapsed, trembling with no tears left. He left for a supposed month-long business trip the next day. He told me to check out short-term apartments for him while he was gone. Since my family was in construction, he thought I could use our connections to find something good. Though his sarcasm showed how little respect he had for me, I didn't care anymore. I knew his business trip was just an excuse to spend time with his mistress before her wedding. Checking his phone had become a regular habit. I hated myself for it, but it gave me the information I needed. Good luck on your trip, I said with a smile, pretending I didn't know anything. The next week, I made a call, set things in motion, and rushed to get ready. I was excited and relieved to finally take action. 1 month later, while I was at work, John called me several times. I didn't answer at first, but his calls became annoying. When I stepped out to answer, I was shocked by what I heard. Where is the house? It's gone. And the land's up for sale. What's going on? John was yelling so loudly, I didn't need to put the phone on speaker. Well, you told me to get rid of it quickly, I replied calmly. I asked my father to help. What's wrong with that? John was furious. There's no way your small business could do this in a month. Who helped you with this? Don't try to fool me. I kept my voice even, though I was barely holding back laughter. You looked at my parents' house and assumed it was small and nothing special, but did you ever look deeper into my family's business? John started searching frantically on his phone. He was stunned when he realized the company on the sign was one of the biggest in the area. We're not just a construction company, I continued. We handle demolition and building too. The land sold well, and the demolition was completed in a week. It was the last big project of the year, and it was a gift to me from my grandmother. I'd been struggling with the decision, but in the end, I'm grateful it helped me make it. Thank you so much, I said cheerfully, though I could imagine how pale and shaken he must have been. He started panicking. Did you throw away my stuff? My computer? My work files? Do you even realize what you've done? I smiled. Of course not. My stuff went to my parents' house, and yours went to the right place. It's a little early, but consider it your Christmas gift from me. The boxes should be arriving today. The sender's name is yours, and I've written the address. I'm sure you and your people can sort it out. John was too frantic to even respond, and I could tell he was too panicked to hang up properly. As I expected, and he didn't, the recipients of the package arrived. Can you please explain what's going on? A man's voice said. It was the fiancé of John's mistress. I had sent John's belongings to their condo, using the address I found in his messages. I also included photos of John and his mistress at the hotel and their condo, sending them to the fiancé and his family, who were well known in the area. On the phone, John and his mistress were shouting at each other. The fiancé, furious at what he discovered, broke off their engagement, and it seemed like legal action might follow. When the dust settled, John realized he was still on the phone with me. Enraged, he started cursing me. You're ruining my life. I'll make you regret this forever, he screamed. I was calm as I responded. You deserve everything that's happening to you. How dare you blame me after everything you've done? I'll never forgive you. This is the end. I hung up on him and immediately contacted his workplace, where I'd already discovered signs of his wrongdoing through his messages. Next, I called his parents and told them everything. I had considered holding back in case he apologized sincerely, But I didn't owe him anything anymore. John was fired that day. His furious parents disowned him. In one swift blow, he lost his job, his house, his wife, and his family. It was clear he wouldn't be able to stay in the town much longer. We officially divorced soon after. I made sure to secure a large alimony settlement. John's mistress also faced consequences. Her parents abandoned her, and her ex-fiancé took her to court for fraud, demanding a huge sum in compensation. Both of them had brought disgrace to themselves. John's career was permanently damaged, and his mistress was left with a tarnished reputation. They likely struggled to make ends meet in a small, shabby apartment. Rumor had it that they fought constantly, living only to pay off their debts. As for me, I used the proceeds from selling the land to buy a new house. I chose to live simply and independently, without relying on my parents, and made sure to enjoy every day. The experience from my failed marriage taught me a valuable lesson. I'm not always a good judge of people. I let passion cloud my judgment and couldn't see John's true nature. Though I was hurt, I refused to let it define me. I was determined to learn and grow. I wanted to be more discerning in the future and gain confidence in myself. With a new goal for the future, I made a wish for the sunrise, knowing I was on the path to a better, stronger version of myself.